interest in authentic Maltese cuisine? Then you need to dine at Georgie's on Vista. Situated in the heart of Fraser Rise, you can't go wrong when it comes to family dining. We have a menu for mum and dad, one for the kids, and one for seniors. Everyone's taken care of. Don't miss our specialty nights. Tuesday night is Parma night, where you get to choose from not one, but 5 different Parmas. Wednesday night, kids eat free with every paying adult meal. Thursday night is members night, where members get the chance to win some great prizes. And Friday night, join us for happy hour between 5:30pm to 7:30pm. Jim, Johnny, Jack and their little brother Schooner are only $5 each. Looking to get an early start Friday afternoon for a punt? Our sports bar with TAB is open from 3pm Friday afternoons. To book your table, email info@georgiesonvista.com.au. Bring the family and come dine at Georgie's on Vista, 46 City Vista Court, Fraser Rise, Plumpton.
Sweat and strong will, and Macron knows it. A leading global company with Italian DNA in the production and sale of sportswear. When Macron first entered the sports world in 1971, it was a small yet strong player. Since then, Macron has been growing at a very fast pace, supporting teams, sportsmen and women at all levels, working hard to supply them with the best technical products to help improve their performances. With over 4 million pieces of stock available in our Italian warehouse and an extensive range of on-field, off-field and free-time products, we cater for everyone from amateurs to professional sporting organisations, even referees. Ranked 3rd most prominent football brand by the UEFA, Macron keeps expanding its presence worldwide, including Australia, where we are currently proud partners of Perth Glory, Macarthur FC, Port Adelaide and Parramatta Eels, and more to come. Work hard, play harder, Macron, your next teamwear partner. For more information, visit our website at www.macronvic.com.au or call us on 1800 Macron. Good afternoon, or good evening, I should say. A very, very warm welcome to you, wherever you may be tuning in. It's episode 64 of the weekly Football Out West show. My name is Tonci Prusak. I'm one of just 3 co-hosts, and a big, very, very warm welcome to the one and only Craig Filer, who's joining me on tonight as well. Craig, long time no see. We did a gig together yesterday down Geelong Way, commentating the NPL too. Good to see you again.
Good evening, Tonch. Good evening, listeners. Hope everybody's well. Hope everybody's had a great weekend. And yes, we had the privilege of calling yesterday. Had a busy weekend this week, Tonch, with calling. Had one on.
Yes.
Well, actually had a busy week. Had one on Tuesday night with Steve, another one on Tuesday night with Steve, and then yourself yesterday, and a game as well. So really busy weekend, and nice to have a couple of hours today.
Speaking of Steve. Well, guess what? We've got him right on the show now. How are you, mate? My friend, what's going on?
Yeah, we're not coming live from Amy Park. We're coming from Geelong West, but we have just seen the end of the game in Melbourne City. Have been crowned champions of the A-League for the first time with a 3-1 win over Sydney FC.
3-1, Steve. Now, I lost track after about, I think it was 2-1, and then I had to get ready into the studio, come here. Who scored the... Well, take us through all that. Let's start with the A-League tonight then. Steve, over to you.
All right. Well, Barbaroussa silenced the home crowd with a bit of individual brilliance to get the ball rolling with the first goal before Nathaniel Atkinson capitalised on a good run from Stefan Kolakowski with a pretty good finish only about 2 minutes later. Then Luke Bratton, second yellow card. That was a big moment in the game. Went sliding in for a ball that he really shouldn't have for a player who's already on a yellow. Scotty Jamieson stepped up to take a penalty in injury time of the first half, put that away. And then in second half stoppage time, after a barrage of shots, Scott Galloway scored the sealer to make it 3-1. And the celebrations, I can see they're going on the field at the moment as they're getting ready for the trophy presentation. But good timing for our show tonight. We're sort of rolling straight off the full time. You can come straight off watching that and into watching football out west. So there you go.
Indeed.
Yeah, I've been watching postcards.
You've been
There
watching
you go.
postcards. Oh,
Any good destination? Or anywhere we can go. I guess it has to be in Victoria at the moment.
Victoria, yeah, you can go anywhere in Victoria.
Green Gully Reserve.
Speaking of Green Gully Reserve, now, gents, you were out there Friday night. Craig was telling me a little bit about it on yesterday down at Alco Park, which was just as cold and freezing, I think, as what it must have been down Green Gully Reserve way. Lovely neck of the woods, Green Gully Reserve, but geez, can't they do something about their commentary box positions?
Oh, look, the commentary box position, I think Tonci is fantastic, if I'm honest. It's Steve mentioned it on air. It's
Isn't it just a table or something?
Sorry?
Isn't it just a table or something?
No, they've actually they've
Well, the
upgraded.
table's ours.
They've upgraded. They've got some tarpaulin around some scaffolding now, and it's very nice if you're a midget.
Let's be politically correct. You are height challenged. No,
Yeah, if you're vertically
actually,
challenged, maybe it's okay. But yeah, I don't think Craig could stand in there, and I definitely couldn't stand in there.
Oh,
But
do you reckon I could? No way.
No, you definitely you couldn't swing a cat in that space there. But it's a good place to commentate from on a dry night. But,
Yeah, so sort of a year of pie overlooking the ground, and it did look really good on commentary. Actually, the camera work from Isaac did very well.
yeah,
I think.
Oscar. Yeah,
Oscar,
he
sorry,
was
not
good.
Isaac. Isaac was yesterday.
He was
Yeah,
good.
look,
But if you're going to an NPL game, it's probably one of the best vantage points for an elevated view of the game anywhere in the NPL. If you can sit up
agreed.
on the grass hill on a picnic blanket on a nice day with a nice cheese Kransky and something from the canteen to drink as well, it's pretty good. But yeah, it was so wet that I think at full time my heels I was ankle deep in the actual surface because we're also on a very tight tether. My headphone cable was only allowing me to move my head like about 30 centimeters. So I was standing in the same place and I just gradually sunk into the turf a few inches each of the two halves of the game.
Well, I'll tell you what, gents, it is absolutely fantastic to have NPL football back. And I know, Craig, you were called a Euro snob a few weeks back by one of our viewers that you didn't like the A-League and you only like a bit. Well, I am a self-confessed NPL snob because I tell you what, guys, and Craig, we mentioned this on air yesterday down at Alco Park. Folks at home, picture this, the gantry or scaffolding, whatever you want to call it, right on the halfway line. You're elevated about 2.5, maybe 3 meters, and you're so close to the players. You can reach out and grab an autograph off them. It's amazing. The view is brilliant, and you actually feel the intensity of the players going in hard for the ball, don't you? I mean, to me, I don't know. It's everything you could possibly want. And no matter how cold and windy it is, Craig, we were having a great time. The result wasn't exactly what we wanted, I suppose, if you're a Warriors fan, but the game as a spectacle, despite all the conditions, was pretty much first class, wasn't it?
Yeah, look, a Euro snob or whatever they want to call it. I do enjoy football here. As I said on many occasions, I'm not a fan of the A-League. I don't think it's particularly good. And I think the NPL offers me much more than what I believe football to be. Hence the reason why I try and promote it as much as I can. But yesterday, yeah, look, as a neutral Tonci, because we have to remain neutral at all times when we're commentating, of course. Yeah, look, it's a great vantage point, and to watch a game really close, you can hear everything that the coaches and players are saying. And unfortunately for North Geelong yesterday, it wasn't the result that they were looking for.
That's right, Steve. The A-League. All right, another season comes down. A curtain comes down. We'll keep this very brief. Next year, we've got a whole new media package, media coverage, however you want to call it. Channel 10 is going to be covering that. So that's something to look forward to. What does the A-League need to do at the moment in order to just, to re-engage a lot of the football fans in this country?
It's a good question. I think.
Oh, what a tough question.
I think the interesting thing, as you mentioned, is going to be the TV coverage. And I think look, I've got optimism that they're going to get it right. They're going to get the right people. They're going to appeal to a younger audience. They're going to push it a little bit more into the mainstream and have that coverage. You need to have good free-to-air coverage. Not everyone wants to subscribe to TV. If you want to have that water cooler chat at work the next day, you need to have that free-to-air coverage of the big games, not crappy games, not games that get cut off by the 7 o'clock news, like proper big games. You need to advertise it. You need to build it up. And I think the thing that's promising is the cross-promotion opportunities that we've already seen, that they're taking it quite seriously with putting them on the 7 p.m. project and Archie cooking meals on a reality show and things like that are happening. I think
blah, blah, text. You got another
some hope. That was good timing. Did you just text yourself?
Oh, yeah, I did. Yeah. But just on that, guys, I mean, I've obviously heard that.
I don't know. What do you guys reckon?
Craig?
Yeah, look, I think they'll do a great job. You know, we've already heard that they're actually going to make the Saturday night show a proper show. It's going to be an hour and a half build up to the game, which I think is exactly what's needed. If you look at, you know, what Foxtel have done, particularly this season, the coverage hasn't been, and I think that's why I've sort of got my a bit of a downer on it, because I think Foxtel have sold us all up the river. To be honest, they want our $100 a month. Fees for, and then they go and put on a poor product, and I think that's where I'm sort of annoyed with them. You know, get people like, we had Lucy Zelich on the other week. We know now she's not with SBS. Why wouldn't we get somebody like her on as a presenter? Simon Hill back as the commentary. Oh yeah, 100%. And they're the type of guys that appeal to the younger audience, for in my view. And look, I've got nothing against the A-League as such. I just think like I said, we've been sold a duck egg, and not something that really is does belong, I suppose, in mainstream TV. It's just not right.
Chris Briffa, one of our viewers, sums it up, in my opinion, beautifully. He says, get proper commentators on Channel 10. Get Simon Hill as your host, as you just said, Craig, and I agree. Get proper Simon Hill as your host. He's got precedents like Bruce McAvaney. Totally agree there. I think the bottom line is they do need better commentators, and they did have that. And I think they didn't realise what they had. But I think just Foxtel, honestly, as Maxi Santich says, Foxtel has been extremely poor the last 12 months. I think they've been just trying to count their losses and get rid of it as quickly as they could. But yeah, look, all of those magazine style build-ups to the actual game, the Master Chef and all of that.
Yeah.
Look,
and
honestly,
a kids show too. There's going to be a kids show.
Right?
Yeah.
Honestly, I kid you not, gents, I kid you not. I reckon it's been 2 years since I last watched anything on Channel 10. I think it was the crappiest channel. This will change me. They might get me back as watching it. But, look, as far as the product is concerned, they've got to stop the recycling of players. You know what? 3 strikes and you're out.
Look, that's not going to stop. That's not going to stop, Tom. That's not going to stop. That's going to continue overnight.
I know, but it has to. That's the thing. I know it's not going to stop. We know that. We're not stupid. We haven't come down in the last shower, but it has to stop. You know,
as long as I see my mate every season, I don't care. As long as he plays.
Matt Simon.
Didn't say his name. I can't.
Even
some of the another 5 years in him yet. I think
he's got a 5 on my ass.
But even some of the Melbourne City players. I mean, is it Matthew Leckie? Is Matthew Leckie going back to?
Yeah, Matthew. Look, I spoke about that the other week. Sorry, Tom.
Yeah,
I spoke about that the other week. He is 33 years old.
Yeah,
30.
Sorry,
30.
30 is he? Okay, 30 years old.
So he could stay overseas a couple more years. You would have thought, as we said.
Yeah, and that was
as he said that night.
The other week, wasn't it? When I said I think he's come back a little bit too early. Having said that, he is a Socceroo, but you've still got the likes of Matt Simon, who couldn't play in a I don't know, a Kangaroo side, let alone a Socceroo side. So I think there's a time for players, but unfortunately, we have to remember where. As we've spoken to so many people over the course of the last 64 episodes, we're not Europe.
No,
we're not Asia. We are Australia, and it is what it is. And the fact that we've now got the new broadcast screen, there now is going to be a change in how we see, or the future of football sees football in this country. It can only be positive.
Oh, absolutely. But my point about Matthew Leckie, and he's a good player. I actually rate him, but compared to what we've got, I suppose, in the soccer team. But the thing is, he doesn't excite me as a recruit. Maybe other people are, but he's already played at Victory. He's already played at Adelaide United. Where else?
He's played at Victory yet?
Has he not?
No, just
No,
Adelaide.
give it time.
Adelaide United. Where else has he played?
I think
know
just
he's
Adelaide.
played at, is that right?
And
So
he's
he's
been in Germany ever since.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So my point is, he's now coming to another club and all of that kind of stuff. You can't keep up track of who's where, because they're here today, gone to another club somewhere else, and then they're on loan somewhere else. They're just recycling them. That's my thing.
I
that's
think
not
the thing
going to
is,
stop
mate.
us,
Unfortunately.
I think the length of the contracts that they get signed on is just a bit of a joke. Sometimes they're getting signed all on 1 year contracts, and it just promotes this kind of thing.
Well,
you would prefer to see something that you see. Like, don't want to reference the AFL too much, but they seem to have players that stick at the same club for 10 years, and you sort of get a feel for that player, his heart and soul, that team, and that builds the identity and the brand of the team. I think if we can just aim to be a little bit more like that, it would be a bonus rather than the merry-go-round.
And credit to Melbourne City, the new premiers. They did sign Leckie on a 3-year deal, didn't they? And McLaren as well.
Yeah, well, that was the thing.
So
I thought it was going to be
in the right direction.
I thought it would be to replace McLaren because we all thought he was leaving to go to maybe a big offer in Asia, and then they announced his re-signing. So they're going to have both of those players. Guys, that's a very strong forward line.
But this is smart business sense. They've signed both of those Socceroos on 3-year deals. Now, if they do go overseas, if after the 2022 World Cup they've done really well, they've still got 2 years of their contract to do, they're going to go for good money. They'll go for 20, 30 million. And that's absolutely
what football is.
Yeah.
And
it should happen across the board. We've talked about it a number of times on this. That's what's going to happen now going down the board. I was talking to somebody last night at a game. In fact, it was Mark Sultana, who we'll have a chat about later on. And, he can't sign contracted players in State League One.
Yeah.
And it's not right if a player's at a club and the club are paying him his wages, whatever that might look like. They have a right to put them on a contract, and if somebody else then wants to come in and take them, well, they have to pay. They have to pay up. That's football. Look, hopefully in time, things are. If we go back 12 months, guys, or even 24 months to where we were, is football in a better position now than it was perhaps then? I'd say it's getting there. I wouldn't say we're in a brilliant position
compared to 12 months ago.
Starting to change.
12 months ago, I think we had a lockdown, didn't we? We had no football.
So we are in better position now. I think it's definitely starting to change. You can see,
I agree.
You can see the changes within Football Federation Australia, and hopefully long term it'll be great for the country.
Yeah, gents, let's move along. Speaking of top class football, the Euros, they are now moving into the absolute business part of the.
I've lost interest now.
Let's go through that. Craig, what happened to your Wales? Talk about it. There we go. Scoreline reads Wales 0 with a red mark next to it. A red slice of tomato, as our mate Brenton Ray would say. And Denmark 4. That was earlier today. Take us through the game.
Yeah, look, I'm not gonna hide behind anything. Denmark were fantastic. Absolutely dominated the game apart from the first 15 minutes where Wales were very, very good. Denmark were dominant throughout the game and by far the better side and thoroughly deserved to go through. So got no qualms about it. Disappointed, of course, but it is what it is. It's a good run for us. And I keep saying to people, we talk about Croatia and teams of that ilk. This is only Wales's third major tournament. The second, the first one was in 1953, I think it was, or 52, and the last one was in 2016. So when it's not a massive country, there's not a massive top quality footballers. If you look at that football squad that played last night, half of them are playing in Championship or below. So to do what they've done, and to even get to the European Championship is credit to them.
Yeah.
But I have no negatives on it. Denmark were by far the better side, and I actually think they're going to go on and do very, very well. I think they could surprise a few over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah. Craig, tell us a little bit about Welsh football. Roughly about if you know off the top of your head how many registered players, professional clubs, etc., etc. Actually, what is the population of Wales in general?
It's about 3 million.
Okay, so it is like Croatia, 4 million.
It's 2,800,000 sheep.
Yeah, it's a minnow. Scotland, similar, what, 4 million thereabouts? Gee, so they've got more sheep than per capita than New Zealand.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
How professional footballers? Do you roughly know how many?
Well, there's 2 professional football teams, Swansea and Cardiff City.
There you go. Yeah.
All the rest are, semi-pros. The Welsh, the League of Wales is a semi-pro league, and then down the leagues in the Welsh League. So yeah, there's only 2 professional clubs, and both of those play in the English pyramid system. Wrexham, that were in the pyramid system, are now in the league below, the Football League.
Yep.
So yeah, two professional clubs in the whole of maybe 3 if we call TNS or in the League of Wales, which I think may be all full time. But apart from that, it's definitely Cardiff and Swansea.
All in all, it's a superb achievement to get to the Euro Championship.
Sorry, I actually. Newport County are also in there.
How can you forget?
Apologise to all my Newport County
people tonight.
I only worked for them for 5 years, so there's 3 clubs.
Yeah, but all jokes aside, mate, they're putting that into perspective. That's a great achievement, and to get to the round of 16, and it's great to see some of those little countries getting to the round of, whether it be the round of 16 or even to the Euros proper. So it's keeps that fairy tale alive.
Look, they started the process 22 years ago now, actually with former Football Federation of Australia technical director Rob Sherman.
Yep.
And they started off, I think they were something like 170th in the world. They were well down. They had players that were playing in EFL, the 3rd division of EFL, and the Welsh football decided that it was time for change, and they really ripped it all apart and started playing 3v3s, 4v4s at 5 and 6 years old, 7v7s, and then 8v8s as you go through the age groups. And that's the way it was, and everybody said, "Nah, this is never going to work." It's I play in big goals. My 5-year-old goalkeeper plays in big goals. He's not playing in small goals. But they did, and they made every club do it. And eventually, people got to understand it. And 2016, Tonci, was, I believe it was the 20th anniversary of that whole structure coming into place within Wales. So fast forward 20 years, and they're in the semi-final of the European Championship. So, they've gone through this whole process of, I suppose, of what Australian football's been doing for the last, 10 years. Small-sided games, lots of touches on a ball, making it more technical for the young players. And but Wales are a very, very small country, and they've overachieved in the last few years. But fair play on them for giving us a bit of enjoyment.
Brilliant stuff. Look, let's move along to the next game that was played earlier today. Steve, did you catch that game? Italy versus Austria.
I caught the end of this game this morning, actually. I woke up at about 6:30 thinking Italy would be up, 2-0, 3-0. And at the time, it was 0-0, so I got quite the surprise there. Austria was, doing a pretty solid job defending, keeping it pretty tight. And then it goes to extra time. And, of course, the substitutes did the difference. Federico Chiesa, his finish was very decent. He's going to be pushing for a starting spot, I think, in the next round, and Pessina with the sealer there. Well, we thought it was the sealer because then Austria did score through Kaladzic. So it was a grandstand finish. So it was an exciting game, actually. So yeah, full value for money for those who got up early this morning. Although if you got up at 5, maybe it wasn't the best for the first hour or so.
Look, I think I did watch the game, Steve, and I thought Austria were fantastic. I thought they were really, really good, very, very well organised. Italy found it very, very difficult to get through them. It was only really the changes that came on, Chiesa and Pisani came on, and they made a massive difference. And I think you're right. I think one or both of those will certainly get a starting place in the next round, because I think they deserve it. They both come on and really changed the game.
Yeah, definitely. And I failed to mention Arnautovic. His goal was his headed goal was a beauty, but he was just offside. And had that been different, it might have been a different story. But he was offside, and it was Spinazzola that set up that first goal, and he's had a fantastic tournament.
Now, guys, it's episode 64 of the Football Out West show, proudly brought to you by the Caroline Springs George Cross Football Club, and indeed they are the featured club in focus tonight. we've got President Mark Sultana, General Manager LIZA DJURIC, and the coach of the senior men's team, ERIC VASSILIADIS. They will be joining us a little later on in the show. We've got some footage as well of last night's game, so a lot to talk about there. The Georgies on Vista doing really well now post-lockdown, so we're going to talk to LIZA DJURIC about that. Before we do that, gents, let's have a look at the games coming up over the next few days in the Euros. Some absolute corkers. I mean, like I said, it's come to the business end of the season. We'll start off tomorrow morning, Craig, Netherlands and the Czech Republic. It's going to be a pretty close game, that one, don't you think?
I'm not sure, Tonci. I really like Netherlands. You know, Netherlands are one of those teams that, again, they've gone through this whole recycling of players over the last couple of years and had to go back, I suppose, to basics. But they look very good. You know, 3 wins out of 3, scoring goals for fun. Czech Republic, you know, apart from the game really against England, they haven't really done a lot apart from obviously the fantastic goal that Schick scored for them against Scotland. But they were playing against Scotland. But yeah, I fancy Netherlands in that one. Probably a 3-0 or 3-1 result there for Netherlands.
Right, there we go. Steve, Belgium and Portugal, the other game tomorrow. Now, I don't know about this one. I would definitely get Splinter sitting on the fence about this one. But mate, are you willing to stick your head out and give a prediction about this one?
Yeah. I'll go with Craig on that previous forecast. Netherlands to do it in style in the 2 a.m. game. I think Belgium's playing better football than Portugal at the moment, and they will. If it goes on pure football, they'll get the win. If it goes on moments and luck and chances, Portugal will steal it. But I think Belgium to win that one for me.
Craig, quickly.
Yeah, totally agree. I don't think Portugal have been particularly good. If I'm honest, you know, if you look at the goals against France, they had 2 penalties. In the first game when they beat Hungary, I think it was, you know, they only scored their first goal in something like the 84th minute. So I don't think they've been as good as they potentially could be. For me, it's a Belgian win 2-1.
There you go. Okay, interesting. I'll definitely stick with getting Splinters on this one because I think Portugal, you know, clubs like that, they know when to start firing. And it's around about the round of 16 that clubs like countries like that, teams like that start to fire. But yeah, thanks, guys. Croatia, Spain.
What about Croatia and Spain, mate? Who's your tip for Croatia?
Oh, this is a tough one because
Ivan Perisic ruled out with COVID. I heard today.
You've just taken the words out of my mouth. Well done. But
mate. It was a big news headline, though. Hey.
Well, look, arguably he's been Croatia's best player in the first 3 games. Spain is always difficult. Spain is always Spain, so you just don't know. But look, the thing about Croatia, they've got a lot of depth, and it's amazing. And that's why I really asked you about Wales, Craig. The population, how many professional clubs, and all of that. Croatia's very similar, I suppose. 4 million people. It's got maybe you could probably say really 2, 3, maybe 4 at the most big clubs there. But you know, Dinamo Zagreb and Hajduk Split obviously are the ones that produce the most talent. That is all changing. But Perisic is a big player. But the player that they're talking about taking over from him is Mislav Oršić, who scored a hat-trick against Tottenham in the, was it the Europa Cup
that's
campaign?
Tottenham, though,
Yeah, against that's true. Very true. Very true. But he is a great player, and he's one of these players who's been given an opportunity. He's let off the leash. He could really, really fire. But look, it's going to be a tough game either way. I think, obviously, heart says Croatia. Brain says, it's going to be a tough one. I can't not go against Croatia. Steve?
Yeah, this is the real Splinters one, isn't it? That news about Perisic wasn't good. I don't know. I like the way Croatia played. Well, Steve. I like the way Croatia played in the last match, though. They were very impressive in that final group game. I'll just go Croatia as well. Like
Comes back down to Modric. Modric is the key there.
Yeah, his goal, that was really a real moment of joy. That was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. Craig, your thoughts?
I can't go for anybody else, can I? I'd be hung if I said I was going for Spain.
You might get crucified down Elko Park.
Absolutely.
All right, moving along then to France and Switzerland, the big one at 5 a.m. on Tuesday morning, France and Switzerland. Craig?
Look, I think France comfortably on this one. I don't think
Yeah,
Switzerland will really have anything to cause the French side any problems. I could see this being. I'd say it'll be a comfortable win for France. I don't think the score will be comfortable, so I'm going to go with probably a 2-0 win.
Nice, Steve. Quickly.
I think France 1-0. They don't want to get beaten by their near neighbours. They'll feel humiliated.
Yeah, yep, totally agree. Now, Steve, while we're with you, England and Germany. This is stuff that should be in the semi-finals, not in the round of 16. What a matchup!
Yeah. I've got a prediction here. Germany on penalties.
I reckon too. Well, I don't know about penalties.
0-0, 120 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know about penalties, but it will be close. I'm even saying it's going to be 1-0. But anyway, Craig, your prediction? Wednesday morning game at 2.
Look, if you go on history, it'll be a 1-1 draw, and look, Germany will win on penalties. But look, I don't think Germany are the side that they have been in years gone by. Joachim Löw's obviously last tournament, new coach coming in. England haven't really done anything in this tournament as yet. Harry Kane hasn't really been involved.
Has he been there?
Sorry?
Has he even been there?
Yeah, look, he's it's a strange one. But look, I really can't say this.
Tough one.
I'll say this live on air because it'll come back. Look, England to win that game 2-0. 2-0.
Okay. And last but not least, Craig, let's stick with you. Sweden and Ukraine at 5 a.m. Wednesday morning.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah, that's a tough one.
Oh, God. Sweden are very strong. Sweden, very strong in defence. They don't give a lot away. Forsberg has been scoring goals for fun. Ukraine, Yarmolenko could possibly get one. But, yeah, Sweden to win that one 1-0.
Yeah. Yep. Steve?
This is very even. I'm going to... I don't know. I'm going to say Zinchenko is going to inspire the Ukraine to get a win there in Glasgow.
I reckon
More importantly, guys,
I'm just going to go with Sweden, and that's because it's a gut feeling. Nothing else. There's no educated guess there. I just think it's going to be, gut feeling.
Great.
All right. So more importantly,
Yeah.
my dream team, Perisic, has really caused me some problems now because he was in my dream team.
Ooh.
I've now got to take him out. I've now got to produce a captain for tomorrow morning. Do I put Lukaku in there or Depay or Wijnaldum?
Ooh. I like Depay against the Czech Republic for the armband.
I'm
What are you leaning towards?
Because I've seen you score in the fantasy football, so
I'm just gonna stay and get some more splinters after that. Craig, over to you now. Let's talk about Scotland and Glasgow Celtic and the new Australian coach Ange Postecoglou. What did he have to say at his press conference?
Yeah, it was really funny. I'm not sure whether you've got the clip or not, Tonci, but yeah, I think some reporter asked him. Oh, you have got it?
Yeah, let's play it.
Yeah, let's have a little listen because it did really make me chuckle.
This is for you, perhaps. How big a jump do you think this is in terms of your career? And also, quite a lot has been made about the pressure of being Celtic manager. What are your expectations of that?
Yeah, I'm not sure what you mean by jump, but I'm assuming you're saying I worked at a lower level or some lesser level. I guess that's a matter of opinion. I've coached at a World Cup. I've coached at against some of the best teams in the world. So that's not how I look at it. I look at it as another opportunity, an exciting challenge, an opportunity to work.
The full-time whistle. Right, Germany on.
About the game. All those factors are what's attractive to me. I know the history and traditions of this football club, and I know how passionate the supporters are. Everyone tells me the experience here at Celtic Park is like no other. That's why I'm here. And if that means, again, you talk about pressure. If I didn't want pressure, I'd probably be doing a different kind of occupation, or would have stayed coaching my local club with my friends. But I'm here because this is where I want to be.
Fantastic interview.
Brilliant.
Good.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
He just makes me smile. He doesn't. He comes across as a right miserable git, but You know, his answer was just superb. You know, I've coached in the World Cup, and if I didn't enjoy it, I didn't like the pressure, I'd stay with my local football club. Just a great answer.
Yeah, I used to. I didn't like him. I didn't like him as a player. I didn't like him in his early days as a coach. But I'm starting to warm up to Edge Postecoglou more and more. That was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And you know what? What a stupid question to.
Look, there's a few. If you go online, there's another. He had an open day with supporters of a club, and there was another guy that came up with this ridiculous question, and he just sat there and nodded and nodded and nodded, and then just gave him a one sentence answer that just shut him up. So look, he's going to get a lot of that now. He's not probably not. I wouldn't have thought Yokohama was a place where he's going to get lots of stick. Certainly at Melbourne Victory, probably not. He's under the spotlight at Celtic, absolutely is. But I think if there's one man that doesn't give a shit what people think, it would be Ange.
We talked about Steve. Players in the A-League only getting a short contract and not getting long contracts. We talked about this in previous episodes of the Football Out West show. He's only got basically a 1-year rolling contract, so the pressure will be on, no doubt.
Yeah. We don't know if that. If anyone knows about Scottish football, I don't know if maybe that's normal there to do this sort of thing.
Every coach they've had, Steve, has got a 1-year contract.
Yeah. I think we sensationalized it a bit, thinking it was specifically for him. But I think, obviously it's standard operating procedure. But I love the way he answered that question. To quote a cricketing phrase, he's cracked that one through the covers. It was an absolute beautiful answer.
Love it. All right, gents, we're going to take a little bit of a break. When we return, it's our first one of our guests, and it's going to be the president of the Caroline Springs George Cross Football Club, Mr. Mark Sultana. Don't go away, folks.
Looking for a venue for your next event? Our function room at George's on Vista is the perfect place for your next special celebration. That special birthday or anniversary, a baptism, communion or confirmation? Whatever the celebration, we can provide a fun and enjoyable atmosphere with great food. Why not hold your next corporate event in our function room? We can seat up to 100 people and can provide you with a professional environment. Whether you're looking to hold a stand-up or sit-down event, we can cater to your needs. We have meal plans and platters for you to choose from. For more information, send an email to info@georgesonvista.com.au. There's no better place out west to hold your next function than at George's on Vista, 46 City Vista Court, Fraser Rise, Plumpton.
Well, welcome back to the Football Out West show. It's great to have your company tonight. And it really, really is an absolute pleasure to invite our next guest, Mr. Mark Sultana, the president of the George Cross Football Club, a regular guest here and certainly a very welcome guest. Mark, welcome to the Football Out West show. How are you?
Great. Can you hear me?
Absolutely. Yes, we can.
There we go. Yeah. Not bad internet today at Gisborne.
That's what we love to hear, mate. We love to hear. It's been a good weekend, hasn't it, for the football club, for George Cross Football Club? Any weekend is a good weekend now when we've got football back. But, mate, just overall, how you been?
Yeah, no, all good. Club's well, and like you said, it's great to be playing football, and hopefully it stays that way. Look, seniors won yesterday, which is great. All is good at George Cross.
Very good. And on a personal note as well, how's everything at Gisborne? Did you have any trees come down in the storm the other week, or is everything all good?
Oh, I think we had 3 trees come down. So, Trina's
how do you go on the chainsaw?
No, not good. I pay someone to do that. So, all good.
It's probably a good idea.
You don't have a dog and bark yourself, do you?
Yeah, no, it's all good. Look, it was a bit of wild weather, but I think in all, we're all good. So it's just pleasing to be playing football, to be quite honest.
Yeah, let's go back to the club, Mark. It's been a good opportunity, I suppose, now to sort of have a look at. It's a halfway mark of the season, pretty much for most competitions, if not all competitions. It's a good chance to now really have that mid-season assessment, if you like, of how things are going on the park and off the park. From a president's point of view, how obviously when the president says, "Yeah, all's going good," we'll take your word for it. But give us a sort of a helicopter ride over George Cross. What's happening at the club, and how do you find it?
We can start from our general business, which is obviously the George's on Vista business. That's good. Again, it's all about confidence. We see our numbers rise and drop slightly. So, for anyone out there that wants a great tucker, come to Georgie's. But again, we're surviving, and that's the main thing. So the staff are very important to us all, and we've been able to not only keep after post the first lockdown or third lockdown, sorry, I should say. Now we're after the fourth. We've kept them all on board, and we've hired some a couple of little others so we can just cover the bases. Again, from juniors, both from MPL and also from community. Again, they're all back up and playing. It's really good to see them play. Couple of coach changes there, but Leroy went to Melbourne City, so Mick took over the 14s. Sasha stepped up from community, went into the 17s, which has been a great change. From MPL, they're winning, drawing. I mean, again, it's our first year back. I think everybody and the parents need to understand that it's sort of our first real year back and also trying to find our feet. So, again, considering all those factors, I think they're going really well. The women's side and the girls' programs, very, very strong. Seniors won today, which is great again. And they're a great bunch of girls and ladies. Seriously, they are so committed to what their journey is, and they've jumped on board, with everybody's thought process about how we can extend these results into making something quite special for all the young girls that are behind them. So that's a really good thing. From Little Legends, that's full. I think we've got about 60-odd participants there. And they range from, I think it's 4 to 7 or 5 to 7, which is great. So over and all in all, other than a couple of draws that we had from our senior team, I think, post-COVID, we had a loss to Sydenham, and, congratulations to Sydenham. They came out like bulldogs. They wanted to win, and so they should have. So, that's an eye-opener for the club. Look, I'm not a real huge happy man when I go to the games. I'd sort of just try and stay on my own and just sort of pace up and down a little bit, just on opposite sides and things like that. And, you wear your heart on your sleeve. So you sort of, you feel the supporters and you feel the players. And, you're at George Cross, so you've got a lot to look up to. So, our expectation levels have never changed, that. And that's why, again, we support this wonderful program. So, we want the best for everybody that is actually involved at the George Cross community. So I think that's important. And you'll see through Lisa and, through Tony, our social media and everything. Guys, it's an amazing organisation. Very privileged.
Now, mate, we did see you touched on the NPL juniors and a couple of movements there with the coaches, and I think I've seen a post somewhere where you're looking for coaches. So, which category or which age category are you currently looking for coaches?
Well, NPL, like I said, NPL, like I said, we made those changes. So Sasha's taken 17s and Mick's taken the 14s. I think in the community team there might be a position. Oh, look, I'm not quite sure. Lisa's. That's why she's the boss, mate. I'm sure she'll
bring us up to date with that.
Be completely across the most things, Lise. So there's not a day that I thank this club for giving us the opportunity to employ her, mate. Because let me tell you, I think Craig's seen it in action, mate. It's an enormous job week to week. So again, but look, again, other than that, it's great to be playing football. Yeah. Haven't seen my wife for a very long time. She's stuck in Adelaide, unfortunately. So a good thing is that I can go to the club more often. I haven't been going as often as I normally do. I just sort of had to step back a little bit and just, understand what it all curtails in terms of trying to please everybody can sometimes, take its toll slightly. So you sort of look at it and evaluate it and work out, what's the best place to land for everybody. Parents are still a major part of the club, and you need to appease their concerns. So that's one huge factor of trying to run an organisation this large. And then also you got your members, and then you've got, you know, everybody else around us, and that's Council and Western United and many other things that go on at George Cross.
Speaking of Liza DJURIC, the general manager, she's just arrived in our green room. I can see her there, eagerly waiting. So we'll ask her the question about the coaches or the positions vacant at George Cross. Craig, did you have a question to ask for Mark?
Yeah, a couple of actually. Thanks for joining us, Mark. Really appreciate it, mate. Just on that, what you were just saying then about trying to appease parents. What's part of your role of trying? Because we know how parents can get probably over involved sometimes.
Yeah.
What's because it's a really prominent point for me of parents and getting involved perhaps when they don't. What are some of the concerns that you have to deal with on a daily or weekly basis at the club?
You know, I make it very simple. I'll tell you why. As a club, and you obviously have a product, and you attract young children to your club, and you take the liberty to employ a full-time TD. Okay, so there's your first tick. So in essence, what I'm trying to say to everybody is that, yes, we understand the ambition of the child, female, boys, ladies, men, girls and boys, okay? The problem that you've got is that we all get a little bit too close. We all get tied up in the whole sort of, how do you execute it? How do you present it properly? How do you give them what they want? You are asking for a certain amount of money. How do we deliver on that product? They have the right. I get it. I honestly do. The only thing that I would say that, you know, again, we need to and really learn very fast is behaviour. I think the example that we set for our children, the leadership that we promote through our club, I think the professionalism that comes with George Cross, not only from our TD, but also from our general management, and also from the board and its administration, that we all understand that it's an important part and a very, very crucial part of our club. So if you let us do our job, because that's what you pay us to do, and sometimes you need to look at it that way, then let us do our job. However, from my point of view is, look, you know, George sometimes wastes a little bit too much time dealing with parent issues because they become so pressing. And, you know, some parents might not, you know, they may not like how I'm saying it, but at the end of the day, when I pay somebody to grab a chainsaw, come to my place and cut some trees down, I'm paying him to do his job. And I think that's the important part, because we are a fully professional organisation when it comes to our junior program. And the parents need to understand that. They need to own it with us. But own it for the good, not the bad. Don't put pressure on children anymore, not in these times. Not these times. You know, they sit in the car, they'll probably hear comments. They go home, they hear comments. After training, they hear comments. Just let us do our job. And I can tell you now, I think I've got a great grip on what feels right and what feels wrong. I think the fact that we all talk with everybody across every part of football, and I ask the questions and I do get the answers, Craig. But the most difficult thing of all, and everyone needs to understand that, is let's create an environment for the children to enjoy. That's what we need to push as clubs, because we own that responsibility, because that's what they're paying for, is for them to have a great experience and understand what our achievements want to be. And when they look at that main pitch, that they want to be on that main pitch, again, whether it's female or male. And I think that's the important part. And then, like I said, you have people like Liza DJURIC, George Giro, David Ferrugia, Darren Ferrugia, Lewis, Leanne, all our board members. And, you know, you look at the coaching side of things in terms of how many people. We have 36 teams across our junior program. So please,
56.
I think when you think about what we actually execute across George Cross, you would be highly surprised if you can't imagine how much effort Lisa, George and I and the board and all the coaches and the parents go towards trying to promote a great program. And I think that's your main answer, Craig.
Yeah. No, absolutely, because it's really important that, you know, it annoys me when I hear not that what you said then about you having to appease parents, because they have a right, because they pay their money.
Correct.
They have a right to understand what's going on in the clubs. But, you know, for me, it is about letting the coaches, the MPL players, clubs pay their coaches to develop their children. Let the coaches develop the children. Let the clubs, let the children develop without the pressures of mum and dad telling them what they should and what they shouldn't be doing.
Not necessary.
It's a real bugbear for me, Mark. And not only that, you talk about behaviours. We spoke to Kimon Taliadoris just a few weeks ago about behaviours and how important it is to set the right standards on the touchline. And it's really important because the likes of, and I'll use you as a club as a prime example where, and I said it to you last evening, you are the hunted. This doesn't matter who you play. Yeah. George Cross are the hunted. So
cross every side.
When something's going to go wrong, they're going to be coming down on the likes of yourself like a ton of bricks. And the last thing you as a football club want is your senior team being deducted points because of something that's happened in under 11, under 12s, under 30 that has a major impact on the rest of the club.
Correct. And I'm going to tell you something. We at the club have unfortunately put our situations in line where we were going to cop a hefty penalty for something, sort of discretion that happened at the club. And, we went all down the way to, support, the parents, the child and everybody involved. And let me tell you, it wasn't a great experience. It was a good experience for us to understand how severe these issues are. And I think you need to take that away and understand that. I think in general, my really sort of bee in the bonnet is that, last night we had some of the coaches from the juniors come and watch the game with their children. I think that is testament to understand that they are seriously invested in our football club. And I think that's where we need to understand and give them, again, the right message. And they are a very important part of our football club. And parents need to understand that, look, we love you. We appreciate you. We understand. And I said this to you again last night, Craig, I do not go and watch my son play football. Haven't for a long time because I'm not the right person to do that. So I'm not going to right my wrongs through other people's children to understand that it's going to be acceptable. So as much as I do speak to William about, what he does and understand that it'd be enjoyable to see him kick his 10 goals last week, but at the same time, I just got too invested and I wasn't sending the right message, and nor did he enjoy it. So I think if we can all take that step and really understand what our children mean to us, and we don't flippantly call them our children. So let me tell you, it's a very important decision when you talk about it. So you see that's what we do. Seniors, senior women, senior men are very important to the club. Let me tell you.
Role models, Mark.
Correct. Yep. And let me tell you, it is vast upon me that very quickly how important those two teams are. When they play on that main pitch and you see the young girls and the young boys and everybody there seriously invested in what the outcome may be, then you can seriously understand how it's important to keep this club united. And if Lisa, myself, Peter Kalki, Chivette, the volunteers in the canteen, their daughters play for our senior women's team. They're extremely committed. It just goes on and on and on. And I am privileged. I keep saying it. I sit back last night and, my health hasn't been the best because I don't look after myself enough in terms of making sure I sort of take a bit of my time to help digest what's happening, not only in my personal life, but also through business and the football club. And that's why you need good people around you. And that's why you need to communicate and transmit all this kind of stuff that we're talking about tonight, and to give everybody a chance to understand what my mindset is and what Lisa's is and what Eric's is. And I think that's where George Cross has come a long way. So,
mate, you're an inspirational leader just listening to you. And I think, just looking at some of the comments and just looking at the views as well, it's people like you that and not everyone can be a president. That's the thing. Not everyone can be. People would love to be a president, and people think
I wasn't meant to be. I keep saying that.
Keep saying, you're the president that wasn't meant to be a president. But just putting things into perspective. And look, just I'm not really asking, I suppose, more for an opinion, just more an observation. Has it got worse or has it got better, post-lockdowns? do we see a lot of the frustration starting to creep in people's lives, and they're now looking for something to take it out on, and sometimes they might take it out on people at the club or coaches and all that.
Yeah.
Is that something that's a bit of a concern at the moment? I mean, not just for George Cross, but for all walks of life, that people are taking out their frustrations of what is happening around the world on the wrong people.
You know what? It organically happens. You know what? Because you know what? We switch on every time we turn that
bloody
radio, TV, whatever. It's 29 cases, 15 cases. Guys, we need to hug each other. We need to understand what we do. We need to understand that we may need to live through this a little bit differently. We need to understand what we own and understand how important it is not to hurt those around us. Like I said, it is a challenging time for the club, for the people at home. You know, people lost their jobs. I had a 2-week lockdown, which turned out to be my casual staff earned nothing. It hurts me. It's a shit thing to do.
It is, absolutely. No better way to describe it than that.
Okay, and that's why we've got to communicate. That's why we've got to talk like we do. Communications is the essence of all success. And that's what we need to do. And that's why I've been trying to watch the Euros and go England. Great.
It was Wales, don't you mention? It was Wales last night. Don't you turn on England? You bloody
He was ready and going. He was ready and going. But on last night's result, we're very chuffed again to be back on board. Again, like I said, it's a very important part of our club. And we're all very important people, and we all need to stick together and stay strong, guys. So
we do. We will be talking to ERIC VASSILIADIS, the coach of the senior men's team, a little later on. We got a little bit of footage there as well from a very good cameraman, or hopefully. That's all I'm going to say. But Mark, absolute pleasure chatting to you. We always love you coming on, and it's not just us. Obviously, it's all the viewers out there, and in particular the members. And as Chris Briffer sums it up beautifully, he's informed tonight, Chris. He says, full credit to Mark. He's got time for us, all us members, and he's a great leader at George Cross. Absolutely. Mark, thank you very much.
No, again, and thanks to all our supporters. They don't get mentioned enough. You know, we're all there. We're all in one big happy place at the moment. We've all just got to talk and communicate and share the love, everyone. Thank you very much.
Yeah, look, from my side, Mark, you know, I know how much work you put into that football club, and I know how hard it is being in not that I've been a president, but I know how much work, you know, presidents do put into to football clubs. And, you know, it's really important that, you know, you take some time back as well. You can't do everything, mate. And you also really important that you look after yourself and as well, because that's massively important. So
I cooked dinner with my daughter tonight, and that was the first step to sharing a bit of time with the family. So I had a choice to either go and chase the new menu at George Cross tonight, but Darren's taken on that role. But I chose to cook dinner with my middle daughter. So you know,
I think we met her. She made a very fleeting sort of run behind there on the mobile phone. She was
Mark cooked the dinner. She was just off to the toilet.
That's where you go with your mobile phone.
Well,
of course it is. All right, Mark, we're going to leave you to it because Lisa's hanging to get on.
Thanks,
so thank you very much for joining us.
No, again, we really appreciate your support and love you all. Thank you very much.
Thanks, mate.
Good on you. Thank you. That was Mark Sultana. Always an absolute pleasure having Mark on the show. Really appreciate him coming on. Now, we're gonna make way for the lady that is the foundation behind the club, as Mark said. She's the one that really puts in so much effort and keeps everyone honest and everyone on their toes. A big welcome to the general manager of the Caroline Springs George Cross Football Club, Liza DJURIC. Liza, thank you for joining us tonight.
Hi guys, thanks for having me on. It's been a while.
Oh, that's always a pleasure. Now,
Feeling
Lisa,
a bit nervous.
You're a bit of a fashion model tonight, Lisa, because around your neck you've got one of the new, and if you don't mind, just putting it up, the new George Cross scarves. Don't they look absolutely fantastic?
They are fantastic, and I'm so glad that you actually noticed. Yep, these are our new scarves. They're great.
Now, how can the members, how can fans, how can visitors
look, I think Tonci's buying for a.
I'm absolutely going to get one. Yep, I'm absolutely going to get one. We had Melton Phoenix on a few weeks ago as a club in focus, and I have got a scarf of theirs. So George Cross is next on my list. How can people like myself and others who are interested purchase? How much are they, and how can they purchase them? Is there an online shop?
Oh, you've put me on the spot now with the pricing. We should have been a bit more prepared. You can purchase them over the bar or at the canteen. Yeah. And I don't know offhand, only because we have a whole heap of new merch that we've been selling. So we've got beanies, scarves, backpacks, masks, and beanies. So yeah, you can see them when you come down. So we're
certainly the weather for
home
at the
game.
moment. Yeah.
Yeah. So home game this week. Come down and grab yourself a beanie and a scarf.
Yeah. Who's the home game this week? Let's go through that and time and all of that. Give us a bit of a plug for the game coming up this week.
Yep, we're playing Banyule at home. 5 p.m. kickoff
on Saturday afternoon. Is that right?
And our resis are playing before that at 3.
Yeah. Now, let's quickly talk about the women's. The women are doing very well. 5-1 win today, I think it was. I'll pop that slide on again. How the things are really, really going well with the girls, huh?
Yeah, interesting story that. So when we, it feels like forever, but we moved into the complex in 2019. So we didn't have a women's team that season, and our plan was to develop our women's program for the 2020 season, obviously. And we had our team, and we were ready to start right at the bottom. I think it was, I don't even remember now, but I think it was like state 5, perhaps. Yep. So we had in our state 5 team. Obviously, we retained all our girls because we went through the lockdown, and so we didn't play the season. And so some teams had pulled out, unfortunately, during the COVID period, and we were told we would be state 4, and then from state 4 we ended up in state 3. So it's and I think people forget that this is our very first season of having females women's squad for many years. I mean, it's been I don't know, maybe Victor's there, tell me, but I think it's been something like 10 years, 15 years since we've had a women's team. So we sort of threw them in the deep end a little bit because we've certainly jumped up a few leagues, but they're all doing well, and there's a lot of young girls, so 16, 15-year-olds have been having a run, and they're doing really, really well. So they're finding some challenging teams to play against, which is great. And then they're finding teams at their level. So definitely we're going to foster that. And, we've built a great community out of that group as well. We've got a lot of parents that are volunteers, which we appreciate them so much. I mean, they've taken over our canteen and they're running it fantastically. So big shout out to those ladies. I won't name them because I don't want to miss anyone, but there's certainly a handful. Even some of the players are helping out. So, and some of our women actually coach under 7s and under 8s. So, so we're all about developing female participation in some form. So, yeah.
And just quickly about the women, so a 5-1 win over Maribyrnong Swifts Thunder earlier this afternoon, and that takes it to 5 wins and 3 losses with a goal difference of 20 goals for, 16 against, and a total of 15 points from their 8 games played, just 4 points behind second-placed Avondale FC, who have certainly got a longer history of having a women's team. So full credit to everyone involved with the Caroline Springs George Cross women's side.
Yes,
big clap to those women. Absolutely. Big clap. That's brilliant. And that is a great success story. Gents, who's next to ask a question?
I can jump in if you like, Lisa.
Yes.
As Tonci mentioned earlier, we're about halfway through the year now. And what time of the year do we start looking at planning for 2022? Is that something you've already underway? Is that something that you leave till the end of the season? Like, how does the club tackle that?
Yeah, it's tricky, but we've got our day-to-day and week-by-week stuff that we're still sort of getting through and finalising for end of season. So we've got team photos, we've got presentation nights and fixturing still happening and catch-up fixtures and all of that. But at the same time, in the background, certainly we have George planning squads and what our structure will look like. The board is starting to talk about those kind of things, strips, everything. So, yeah, it sort of happens at the same time.
And on that note as well, I guess, is the club, like you mentioned, sort of end of season events, is there a number of functions still the club hopes to be able to run in the remainder of the 2021 season?
Yeah, look, every home game's a big function for us. So.
That's the way to do it.
Which is big. So hopefully that continues. But, yeah, definitely. I mean, we've got a last man standing coming up on the 24th of July, which is looking to be a great night, which got postponed, obviously, because of lockdown. But, yeah, so we'll continue to run functions. We had booked presentation nights, which we now need to re-evaluate because the seasons for some of the leagues have been extended and they overlap. So, yeah, we're currently just sort of looking at what we want to do for presentations given the sort of length of seasons have changed. But, yeah, I mean, we're trying to bring in some different things, both maybe not so much soccer related, but within Georgie's on Vista. So we have to relook at stuff, but we have things planned where we'll have music nights, that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
Just on that, Lisa, thanks for coming on, by the way. Just on planning for next season, obviously, of course, the club, hopefully that they're going to be, or hoping that they're going to be in the NPL structure. Does planning for next season become a little bit harder, not knowing what's going to happen next year? Or is it a case of, you know what, we are going to be in NPL next year and let's get ready for that?
Well, I was about to say that, Craig, because Mark will love this, and no pressure, Eric, but we will be.
We can put the pressure on it.
I like it.
We will be in the NPL next season. That is, and Eric's fully aware of it, and that is our focus, and that is what we are planning for. If it doesn't happen, then it's not that difficult to revert back to where we're at. Obviously, some things will change in terms of what is it we want to achieve. Do you go again to try and win the league? Obviously you do, but obviously we'd have to reassess, how we move forward if we don't get promoted. But, everybody at the club is definitely focused on that, including, our juniors are coming out and supporting our seniors. They're enjoying that atmosphere that winning team and the expectation of winning promotes, as you all would know as football supporters. Nothing like, a very competitive team to follow and support. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I was going to say that's what people forget. We are in the industry of winning games. It's a competitive industry or sport or whatever you want to call it. And as much as it's nice to say, oh, yeah, we're here to participate in this and that, at the end of the day, certain levels like what State won with so much at stake. I'm not trying to put too much pressure on Eric. He's in the green room and he's turning green with all of the expectations. But a bit of a smile from the man. But it is an environment where we're trying to win and trying to do the best that we can. And there's certainly no one wants to lose. Isn't that right?
Trying to create a winning culture is massively important in any sport.
And respect goes with everything like that as well. But absolutely, if you're not stepping out on the field to win games, what's the point of being there, unless you're trying to, I don't know.
Yeah. I have to call out because my daughter is watching. So, hi, Jessica.
She should be in bed, shouldn't she?
She should be, but she's not. But, yeah.
Now, Lisa, speaking of family, you've got a brother down Geelong Way who's heavily involved in one of the clubs down Geelong. You've been very good at helping out with recruiting players and what you're not. So you can't settle with just helping one club. You want to help more clubs.
I can't help it. I feel bad because I know that it's hard recruiting females in all different age groups, especially this year with COVID hitting and a lot of girls not wanting to play or giving up for other reasons or whatever. So, yeah, they were in helping hand of needing some players and who I mean, you guys have got the show out there, so why wouldn't I reach out?
Absolutely. I hope that virtue by you
I think my niece
reaching
is
out to us.
watching anyway.
Yeah.
Hi, Emily.
Shout out to her. Yeah. And what's your brother's name? Is it
Tony?
Tony Collegia down Drysdale Soccer Club way. Yeah, no, it's a lovely family. Great to have you on board. Steve, you had a question for our guest, did you?
I didn't have anything planned, actually. I was just more interested in what you're coming for the rest of the season.
What's that bus, Steve? Let's do it.
All right, saying it.
Oh, he switched his mic. Oh. No, sorry.
Look, I can talk a bit about the bistro if you want. So we are
please.
launching into our winter menu from the 5th of July. So unfortunately, I couldn't make the tasting, which I was really disappointed because I had to come and prepare for this show. But we've left that in the trusty hands of our Vice President and Lewis, our other board member, and Leanne. So we have great confidence in our chefs. But, yeah, so there's a new menu that will come out on the 5th of July. So we've, got rid of some of those summery meals like the General Manager salad, unfortunately, gets to go. But, yes, there's things on there, I think, like some noodles, some
the rabbit coming back. Is the rabbit coming back?
No, rabbit is still there. So there is a change for all the Maltese out there. There's a couple of differences in the Maltese menu. I think we've got some ravioli. That's ravioli. So we've just made some slight variations.
And Lisa, on the match day side of things, if you're just rocking up to catch a game there in the State One and you want to get something from the canteen, what's your pick from the canteen at the moment?
The chabapi roll is great.
Nice.
We now have the what do you call that? Like the gyros. So we usually have like a chicken gyros, which is really nice. And I usually get it without the bread, so you can actually get it like on a salad in a bowl. Really nice, healthy option.
That's the way. That's right. We've got a Collegia from Drysdale. Rachel says hi from Drysdale Soccer Club. There you go.
That's Tony's wife, my sister-in-law.
Great to see the family tuning in. We should get you more often. You seem to be attracting all these viewers as well.
Well, my family is very football embedded. So since we were kids, Mum and Dad used to be part of George Cross. Mum was in the canteen, Dad was in the committee for the juniors. So, it's kind of in our blood.
Moves on to the next generation.
Yeah, both my brothers played. So.
Yeah, just go. I suppose for one thing for me, just a little bit on what Steve touched on. Then, obviously, home games. And we want to talk about the bistro because that's an important part of the football club. Bookings Saturday evenings, is that a necessity for if you're coming up to watch a game on Saturday? I'll be coming up this weekend to watch. Unfortunately, I was going to come up with my wife, but she's away this weekend on a girls' weekend, so it looks as if I might have to come on my own and have a few beers. So, unless Steve fancies a
boys' trip coming up, I think here,
yeah.
Saturdays without football is pretty busy as it is. So I know I was there yesterday. It was my mum's 70th birthday, so we were in the function room, and the bistro was at capacity, which was fantastic, and there was no football on. So. Okay. Absolutely, highly recommend that you book. We do have outdoor dining, so obviously if you're there and you decide last minute that you want to stay, we'll always accommodate for you. We've got heaters, we've got the bar area, so yeah. But recommend if you know in advance to book your table so it's sitting there reserved for you.
There we go, Steve. What are we doing Saturday night?
Oh, actually, I think Mum's coming down to visit me. I might be stuck at home.
There you go.
Hi, Mum.
Speaking of mums, you just said, Lisa, it was your mum's 70th birthday. Come on, shout out to your mum. Yeah. What's her name? And we know she's turned 70. You don't have to tell us how old is she.
Her name's Rita. Rita.
Happy birthday, Rita.
Happy birthday, Rita, from all of us here, and especially from your daughter. Yeah. No, great to hear. Lisa, coaches, we talked about very briefly with Mark that there's been a little bit of coaching movement at the NPL junior level, and we asked him, which coaches are you now seeking? He couldn't tell us. He goes, Lisa's the person to ask. So the club is now looking, the situation's vacant for any budding coaches to get involved with a great club like George Cross. What coaches in what age categories do we need?
When was that advertised?
I saw it somewhere the other day.
Yeah, I think it was the end of 14s, but it was about. I think it was about a month ago now. I think.
Oh yeah, it was probably our MPL. So we unfortunately lost Leroy, who was offered a position up at Melbourne City. So that opened up some space in our MPL structure. So George was sort of rejuggling options with coaching and assistant coaching. So I think we picked up a couple of new assistant coaches for that space, which is great. But that's predominantly where the coaching was. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Well, on that note, thanks, Liza. Thanks very much for joining us.
you.
Any last messages for the wonderful George Cross membership and the faithful out there?
No, I just want to thank everyone for your ongoing support. Everybody is obviously always welcome to the club, whether you're from George Cross or not. We're a local football out in Caroline Springs, and we have a good environment, and the door's open to everyone. So hope to see you down there on Saturday. Be great.
Brilliant.
See ya.
On Saturday, the big game against Banyule City at 5 p.m. Reserves kicking off earlier than that at 3 p.m. So it should be a football feast there on Saturday night at the City on Vista. Liza, thank you very much once again for joining us.
No, thank you.
Thanks, Lisa.
All the best.
Liza.
Thanks.
Awesome. And that was LIZA DJURIC, the general manager of the Caroline Springs George Cross. It really brings lightens up the room, doesn't she, Liza? Craig?
Does a great job. I've had dealings with Lisa now for a number of years. She does a fantastic job. Very enthusiastic. Very good at making sure all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, and certainly doing a fantastic job there for the club.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, we're going to take a little bit of a break. It's a break of a different sort. We've got some footage now from after the game yesterday. It was inside the dressing room. It's okay. It's not rated anything XXR or whatever, anything like that. So enjoy this little bit of footage from post-match yesterday. And then when we return on the other side of the break, we will be talking to the senior men's coach, ERIC VASSILIADIS. Don't go away, folks. Welcome back to the Football Out West show, and I think at that point we muted. You can probably guess why that was the case. There's probably a little bit of language being used on that occasion, but
yeah, we've had Lucy Zellett say worse, Tonci.
Yeah. Let's not go down that path. We've got kids watching. Hey, gentlemen, it's an absolute pleasure inviting our next guest on the who's going to be joining us. And he's the man who's, I guess, responsible for that little bit of a victory. He was the architect of it all, and he's none other than the coach of the senior men's team, ERIC VASSILIADIS. ERIC, how are you?
Good, thank you. Good evening, gents, and to all the listeners. Hope you're all well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Steve.
ERIC, so how was the nerves last night in the match? Obviously, every game you go into is almost like a must-win situation. You guys took the lead, and then you had a pretty handy young player there, Morgan, scoring a goal, I believe, and ended up running away with it. Were you feeling confident around halftime, midway through the game?
Look, I always feel confident because I know we've done the work, we've got the quality, we've got the mentality. So I'm confident that we know what to do when we get in certain situations, but I always get a little bit anxious with things I can't control. Whether it be until we capitalise on our opportunities and sort of put the game away. You're always anxious as a coach because there's certain things that could occur that can change the trajectory of the game. And even at 2-0 yesterday, they got one back, and we've been around football long enough to know things can change quickly. So the main focus for us is to, without doubt, get the result in any which way we can. But I think the key learning for us from that game yesterday, Steve, was if we want to achieve what we want to achieve this year, and everyone's pretty clear on what that is, then we need to make sure we focus and concentrate for the full 95, 96 minutes. And that was a little bit disappointing for me, I thought, yesterday in some aspects. But nonetheless, the most important thing is we got it done.
Now, we saw a little bit of footage from last night's game. The cameraman was a bit, very vertical. Yeah, he needs to go like that. Yeah, not to worry about that. But we did see a little bit of action there. Craig, you were at the game for obvious reasons. How did you see the game?
Yeah, look, Eric, thanks for coming on, mate. Really appreciate it. Look, as Eric said, and I said to Mark earlier on, when you're top of the league, everybody knows where George Cross want to be. And whenever they step on the field, whether you're playing third in the league, second in the league, or bottom of the league, they're the hunted. And players and teams make it very, very difficult. And I thought for 45 minutes yesterday, whilst you had probably 90% of the play in that first half yesterday, Eric, you found it very difficult to try and break Fitzroy down. They had a lot of players behind the ball, making it very, very difficult to have one or two opportunities in the first half. But certainly the second half, whatever you said to them in the second half, and I think I said to Mark at one point, you need an early goal. And you came out in the straight away and got that early goal, which seemed to settle everybody down. Were you of the same sort of mindset in that first period?
Yeah. No, look, I think so. I think that's a fair assessment, Craig. And we did try and change a couple of things at half time, but we were fairly confident that the mentality was where it needed to be. It's just a couple of tactical things we needed to change. We're a little bit lucky, I must say, not to go behind early in that second half. Gian Tapia pulled out a couple of incredible saves, but I felt that was the catalyst to us getting a little bit of kick on the arse to get into the right rhythm. But you're right. What I've learned, having been in this situation before, I think when you've got a league where two clubs get promoted and relegation is a battle, you very rarely have games that are dead rubbers. And you see the team that Fitzroy put out yesterday. Jones has done an incredible job down there to rally his squad. He's brought in some very, very good players. John McLean, Griffin McMaster. These boys came in and made them a very different team to what they were when we played them sort of 12, 13 weeks ago. So I think the second half of the year is going to be very, very challenging because every club is pushing for their own little agenda. But over and above that, there's no doubt there's going to be plenty of clubs that want to knock us off.
Now, is it the top two get promoted, or is it just the top team automatically goes through to NPL 3, and is there a playoff? How does that actually work this year, with the restructure that's gone?
Look, there was some conjecture around that, Tonci, but I had that clarified by Liza in writing from the FFV that the top two get promoted from State League 1 into the NPL. You don't hold me to this, but I feel that the NPL 2 and NPL 3 leagues may be extended next year. So there's going to be more teams going up. They might extend themselves to 14 teams. That I can't guarantee, but what I can tell you in writing is that the top two teams are pushing for promotion. And then when you look at our ladder, you can see that there's 5 or 6 teams that are all very, very close, and they invest and they push and they're motivated. So it's going to make every game very, very challenging for us.
Yeah, so we can see the ladder there on the screen now. George Cross, 26 points. Brimbank Stallions as well, 26 points. And then at Sydenham, who we've seen, who are such a difficult team themselves, 5 points behind the pace. But look, a series of good results or a series of bad results can change that completely. Now, this weekend, you're coming up against Banyule City, bottom side. How hard is it to make sure that the boys don't get complacent when they're playing against such a lowly ranked side? Remembering Banyule City pre-season were probably one of the teams that were tipped to go well this year.
Yeah, look, I know Nicky G quite well, having won promotion with Nicky G in State 2. I was coaching Nicky, so I'm pretty close with Nick. He's found it a real challenge down there. I feel they were one of the key losers of the COVID situation. They've historically done very well in bringing some good visa players in, but in an environment where visa players became quite scarce, they lost their 2 or 3 really good ones to other clubs, right? And they couldn't replace them. So I feel that hasn't helped them. They haven't had that foundation. Having said that, to go back to your original question, look, the club, the team, the group knows that I was very disappointed with our performance yesterday, if I'm being brutally honest. Extremely disappointed. And we have to bounce back for 90 minutes. We have to be professional. Look, we're going to pay Banyul all the respect they deserve, but I'm going to be so focused on our mentality, our desire, our work rate, our willingness to grab what we have to achieve this year. It's not going to be given to us. That's our motto. We have to go and get it, and we intend to.
Yeah, absolutely. We might have to speak to Victor Brinkat and see the club historian there and see if you're only conceded 4 goals in the half of the season, if that's the record at the club, possibly at least going back for a long time. Is that defensive record, is that something that you attribute to, I think, as you mentioned earlier, just a lot of good concentration as a first and foremost, or just that hard work on the training ground?
Oh, no, I think you're right, Steve. And look, we do pride ourselves on being defensively, or that defensive solidarity. And if I'm being honest, that's what I was most disappointed about yesterday. I feel the penalty we conceded and the goal we conceded was could have been easily prevented. Look, we need to accept that we play football and we're going to concede goals. But if we can control circumstances, then I think we need to be able to do that. So yes, we do. We've got a really strong defensive block of 6. So our 4 plus our sort of defensive midfielder combined with our goalkeeper. But I think, if I'm being honest, complementing that is our work in the front third. So if we defend well in that front third, then we try and prevent a lot of those issues. But yeah, that's a main focus for us, mate. Absolutely.
Yeah, just on that, you touched on the goal that you conceded yesterday, Eric. I obviously heard you shouting and bellowing from the touchline. Was it a case that obviously it was a free kick a little bit further up the park? Was it a case of the players just switched off for 30 seconds? They got the ball moving, and before it was too late, we were trying. The boys in the back were there trying to react to something that perhaps they shouldn't have, because they probably should have switched on a little bit quicker.
Oh, look, potentially. Look, I don't want to get caught up on one incident. I thought over 90 minutes. Look, we all understand. We all understand the rhetoric. We all understand the challenge, and we all understand what's at stake here. So, we've all got problems and priorities in our lives. But when it comes down to that 90 minutes, we have to be focused and switched on. Because Mark Sultana, LIZA DJURIC have reinforced pretty clearly what our ambition is. And in order to achieve it, I believe it's the detail that gets you. We've got a strong squad. We're doing the work, but it's the detail that gets you. So we need to make sure we're switched on and we are professional for 90 minutes. And my job, Craig, is not to, in my view, not to criticize these boys, because their mentality is where it needs to be, is to make them better competitors. Get those game smarts right to help the team, to make themselves and the team a better place. And I feel the video will show it, and we'll isolate 2 or 3 moments where that little bit of detail, that little bit of professionalism on those big days could be the difference.
Yeah.
Now let's go through the results of round 13. A quick recap. You had Essendon Royals 2 defeated Keilor Park 1, Brimbank Stallions 3, Whittlesea United 0, Altona City and Yarraville Glory in a high-scoring game 4-3. This is a big one. Clifton Hill 2 went down to Corio 5. Joey G, Santino Mamone, regular Mario Gregorio, regular listeners of our program. They'll be actually hosting the Brimbank Stallions this week down in Geelong, so they might be able to do you guys a favour and knock some points off them. Sydenham Park, get this, 6-0 thrashing over Banyule City. So they really are in form after the lockdown. And then obviously you guys defeated, Caroline Springs defeated Fitzroy City, what was it, 4-1. So, some big goals there. What do you put that down to, Eric? Is it just, post-lockdown, people are just sort of still starting to come back into their groove or finding their groove? Or just is there a big difference now starting to develop between the haves and the have-nots in State League One at the moment?
Yeah, good question. A good question. Look, if you took some of those results on their merit, Sydenham has become, I think, post-lockdown, a completely different outfit to what they were a month ago. They've brought in some very, very significant players. Clifton Hill's loss, probably a little bit of cup fatigue.
Yeah.
They played in the FA Cup. Yarraville, Altona, two clubs that I think are sort of on the periphery of sort of trying to push for promotion. So they were going for it, no doubt. So, yeah, I think the spirit of your question is there. As you get on, there's probably going to be a couple of clubs that fall off.
Yep.
But to my original point, when two clubs are getting promoted, mate, they don't get till probably round 19, round 20 when it becomes mathematically impossible for some of these clubs. They're going to push all the way, and they've invested, remembering that only state league clubs can sign players now because the NPL windows are closed.
Yeah, very true. Good point.
Eric, looking ahead to the week at training, you mentioned a bit about video analysis, perhaps. Does your training week for your coaching, from your point of view, for you and the coaches, and also for the playing group, does it differ much, do you think, from the other State League One sides, or is it fairly similar brand of preparation for each game?
Yeah, tough question. Look, the feedback I get is, to some extent, yes, but I'm not really competing with anybody else on that front. Yeah. In my experience of coaching at senior level, there's a couple of absolute no-brainers. There's the recovery side. So tomorrow we'll be at Oxiday Performance to try and get an active recovery to make sure the boys physically and mentally recover and ready for 2 full sessions, one on Tuesday, one on Thursday. Thursday we'll do our video analysis where we can reinforce this concept of detail that I talk about. There's not a week where I've watched my video after the game and haven't come out with a different perspective on key things that's going to affect our performance. So the video is extremely important for us. And then we end up with a beautiful dinner on Thursday night, at a beautiful bistro, and we bring the whole thing together. So I don't know, Steve. We just try and use all of our resources to bring the best we can, man. And for the league that we're coaching at, because I do understand that some of the boys have been tiling for 9-10 hours during the day as well, right? So I need to be conscious of that. They all love a little bit of six-a-side.
Yeah, well, who doesn't? Yeah.
And the 18-yard box runs, yeah?
Yeah, I tend to walk in and get a cup of tea at that point, mate.
Yeah.
I want to stay in the good books, guilty by association, right?
Yeah. Yeah, look, I think you're spot on there with the detail. But, looking back at last night, I wasn't there for the Sydenham game, but certainly last night, there were times where you played some fantastic football last night. The pace that you have in that team of moving the ball quickly is frightening. It's frightening for some clubs. I was there with another lad watching the game, and he couldn't believe just how quick the game was. And when you put that into context of what perhaps what we watched yesterday afternoon, I think it really is another step up in how intense the game is in State League One. NPL for me, whilst on paper it's a better standard, but I believe the players that Eric's got at that football club and the way that they try and play football and move the ball, it's frighteningly quick. Frighteningly quick, and I suppose then when you've got the likes of the caliber of the players that you have in that squad, particularly in that midfield, who I think you've got some outstanding footballers in that midfield or forward line, shall we say? It is that small details that you can't work on, I suppose, their technical ability, Eric, because I think you can see they have that. It's those little moments, those little 1%ers that's going to really make a difference to that game over the next couple of weeks. Would I be correct?
Yeah, no, I think you're right, mate. I think you're right. Look, our recruitment has been pretty spot on, even ending up with, I think obviously he's pretty close to you. I'm pretty sure you're related. Even ended up with the bringing in Morgan, who's done an incredible job for us over the last 3 or 4 weeks, trying to integrate himself into the squad. We brought on Alex Diamond on the weekend for his first game. So we went into this game without our regular fullbacks. So they've done an incredible job for us. So it's going to be hard to see them be pushed out of the team now. And that's what we want. And as far as the quick ball movement, I think when you've got a night game on a decent pitch that's quite big, that sort of quick ball movement's really imperative. And we have got some good wingers, man. So we want to get it to them pretty quickly.
Yeah, fantastic, mate. I guess what it does also, though, like what just Craig said, is, I mean, the caliber of players that you've got at your disposal. I mean, the facilities, obviously, and the surface at City Vista. But does that, as a coach, do you thrive in that increased level of expectation and the pressure that comes with it? Because, as Liza said, we got to get into NPL next year, and there's so much at stake. Whereas maybe, Craig, I suppose at NPL 2 level, which we coached yesterday, there's a level of safety, especially if you're kind of mid-table. It's not as much at stake. But obviously, Brimbank, Sydenham, George Cross, they are hell-bent on getting into NPL. And we've heard from Mark in the past how he's saying how we've got the juniors at NPL, but we don't have our seniors. We need to get it. As a coach, does that make it tougher, easier, or you just take it as it goes?
No, it doesn't make. I mean, it comes with different intensity, different pressure. But if you ask any aspiring coach, that's the pressure you want, right? I think you. And when someone asks you, well, if someone asks you, Eckers, you're such and such wants your job, I've always said that's the sort of job you want, right? If someone wants your job, it's a job that's of aspiration. Our vision and our picture is very simple. Okay, our football club is a historic football club that's brought a lot of joy to the Maltese community. Over the last decade or so, it unfortunately lost a little bit of focus and ended up in State League One. That's where we are. Having said that, we should be proud as a football club to now have a foundation, a home that we can be proud of. Now, as far as that evolution is concerned, it's time for the football department to do its bit and get the club into out of State League and into the NPL. What I understand, though, is that there's plenty of clubs in State League that want to do it on merit, but there's others that I'm sure in due course are just going to want to spoil our party. All we've got to do is be humble, work hard, and just get the job done, be professional, and just get it done and move on. That's it.
Perfect.
It's a great answer. It's a great answer, mate, because it's as I said earlier on. You George Cross are the hunted, and to be humble, know that you're in a position where you're a fantastic football club with fantastic facilities. To be able to do the job that you do week in, week out is something that, as a coach, you want to coach at the highest level. It doesn't matter whether you're in State League 5 or NPL. You want to coach at the highest level you can, and when you get the opportunities to do that, you grab it with both hands and you do the very best you can for that particular club at that particular time. And I'm sure, mate. Look, having seen you again last night, I think you're going to go. You're going to go on a great run second half of the season, and I certainly look forward to watching many more of your games over the next couple of months.
Yeah, no, look, I appreciate that, Craig. Thank you. Look, that's the plan. But what I would say is that we're lucky to have the club, and the club's lucky to have some of these boys, because whether it's staff or some of these players, they could all play at a higher level, but they're choosing to play for George Cross. So. A huge shout out to the board and Mark and the team, because we can't deliver what we can without the support and the resources that they provide. But again, mate, it's a weird season because it's round 14, but it's actually round 12. So there's a lot of work to do, and we just got to make sure we just get our heads down and get it done.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Eric, on that note, we wish you all the very best for the remainder of the season, and certainly into the future beyond that. Wishing you all the very best, starting with this Saturday at home against Banyule City, 5 p.m. there at City Vista.
Thank you, gents. And as always, good luck with the show, guys. Doing a great job. Thank you.
Good lad. Thanks,
Eric. Good man.
Bye.
ERIC VASSILIADIS, the senior coach of the men's team at George Cross. Very wise words. Great. It's really, really, I don't know what's the best way to describe it, guys. Very inspirational, uplifting, listening to these people. 3 great champions from a real champion club. Mark Sultana, LIZA DJURIC, and then ERIC VASSILIADIS. Just shows you the caliber of people at that club, and it's great to see. Gents, well, that pretty much brings us to the end of our show. Steve, thank you for once again joining us. I look forward to fronting up again tomorrow night for the Geelong Region Soccer Show. Craig, now we've got some very special offers for our listeners, our viewers, to do with our sponsorship with Macron Victoria. I guess more details are on our social media pages, but in a very, very quick nutshell, we've got some discounted offer for people that want to purchase Macron products.
Yes, Tonci, and if just as I suppose a plug for both Football Out West and Macron, and if anybody, any clubs are looking to 2022 season for their club attire, get in contact with us, guys. We'll put you in contact with those at Macron. But for anybody that buys any attire via the Macron website at the moment, and you get through to the checkout, if you're putting promo code FOW, that's Foxtrot Oscar Whiskey, you will get a discount that will that'll come through at the end of the.
I didn't quite get that. Can you repeat that?
Yes, Foxtrot Oscar Whiskey. Yeah, look, we really thank Macron as well for their support in the show. Again, with without the likes of George Cross Football Club, without the likes of Macron, without the likes of the other sponsors that have been with us, we wouldn't be able to do the show. So we try and do things correctly. It might not always look pretty, but we're certainly trying, and we're trying to get there as best we can. But Macron, get on the website www.macronvic.com.au.
Absolutely. All right, gents, thank you very much once again for being a part of tonight's show. It has been another great show. We will see you guys all next. Steve, I'll see you tomorrow at 7 p.m. on the Geelong Region Soccer Show.
I'll see you then. Yeah, looking forward to it, mate.
The rest of you guys next Sunday, 7 p.m. for the Football Out West Show. Really looking forward to that. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night. You've been tuning into the Football Out West Show, episode 64, proudly sponsored by George Cross Football Club. Good night.
Looking for the best in authentic Maltese cuisine? Then you need to dine at Georgie's on Vista. Situated in the heart of Fraser Rise, you can't go wrong when it comes to family dining. We have a menu for mum and dad, one for the kids, and one for seniors. Everyone's taken care of. Don't miss our specialty nights. Tuesday night is Parma night, where you get to choose from not one, but 5 different Parmas. Wednesday night, kids eat free with every paying adult meal. Thursday night is Members Night, where members get the chance to win some great prizes. And Friday night, join us for happy hour between 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Jim, Johnny, Jack, and their little brother Schooner are only $5 each. Looking to get an early start Friday afternoon for a punt? Our sports bar with TAB is open from 3 p.m. Friday afternoons. To book your table, email info@georgesonvista.com.au. Bring the family and come dine at George's on Vista, 46 City Vista Court,